Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Bulgaria. Good to see you all joining on this exclusive, we can call it exclusive webinar of AmCham Bulgaria, jointly with EXIM Bank, the Export-Import Bank of the United States of America. The day after the Independence Day, we will talk about financing opportunities that that institution will and can provide to the region of Southeastern Europe, and particularly in Bulgaria. And logically and very naturally, AmCham members are those that can contribute, not benefit of these opportunities. So thank you very much for joining. We've got top-notch leaders of the EXIM Bank that will make their presentation, but after, that will come shortly. Now I'd like to give the floor to Ivan Mihaylov, CEO of AmCham Bulgaria, to formally open this session.
Thank you, Danny. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited about this meeting. Because first of all, it's fulfilling our duty to bring together US opportunities, in this case, EXIM Bank leadership together with the business community, not only in Bulgaria, obviously from our neighbors in Greece. And this is continuation as well from our initial meeting and presentation, actually a very inspiring session that we had in Washington a couple of months ago, together with the whole leadership of EXIM Bank. And I think it's really unique for us to have this opportunity and to have this presentation. And of course, Ebru, I think you'll join me in the commitment that it won't be the last one. And of course, we'll explore further opportunities, as these are the first steps. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. And I'm sure what's coming next as information will be exciting, and of course we'll just bring more opportunities ahead and more ideas as well for the business, but also to our partners from the EXIM Bank. Without wasting more time, Ebru, the floor is yours.
All right, let me unmute myself. Again, good morning to you, good afternoon to you all. My name is Ebru Bozacioglu, and I have been with EXIM Bank for a very long time. I'm almost 18 years working in various departments. I was a senior loan officer, underwrote many transactions, including sovereign, long-term, structured finance, and most recently short-term finance deals. Year and a half, I've been doing business development activities at EXIM, which kind of is like a full circle for me, because I started my career in the US, almost start, as a marketing director for a Silicon Valley technology magazine. So marketing was my original roots. So this is all very comfortable, very easy for me, since I am very familiar with the EXIM products. So without further ado, let me start our programs, and I'll share the presentation. And at the end of this presentation, I will email this to Daniel. And Daniel, please distribute it to all our guests today. Okay, so let's start with that.
All right, yeah.
So now, I don't think that you guys, need this slide, who we are. But one important thing about US EXIM Bank, we are just like your export credit agency, Bulgaria has one too. We are here to support mainly the growth of US jobs and through exports, meaning that we like to support exports of US made products and services, not just products, also services. By doing that, we help foreign buyers too through our financing programs. So US EXIM Bank is the official export credit agency of the US. So let's move to important part now, how we do it, how we can help you. We have financing programs whenever, as a corporation, and as a member of EU, you probably, the proximity of the companies around Europe and even maybe Asia, that might be your first instinct to purchase products and services from, closer in that vicinity. However, our programs make US-made products and services very attractive for Bulgarian companies, and I'll explain how. First of all, when you plan on spending capex, when you want to purchase, whether it's be a capital equipment, whether you're trying to grow your business, you're going to purchase know-how or IT investment or any type of products and services. The US manufacturer you might contact and inquire about the pricing and the services. They may not, and most probably they won't tell you that there is this government agency called EXIM, and they can help us, they can help you because it would be cheaper that way. So today, if you can get away with one thing, when you inquire any products and services from the US, please mention that you met us, you talked to us, and you prefer that you would like this purchase, this acquisition be done through EXIM Bank. Let me explain why. Now, here we have three major categories of financing. For short-term financing, it's good. It gives up to 1 year terms for things like commodities, raw materials, agricultural products, basically consumables. And it gives you 1 year repayment term instead of cash on delivery, instead of they are making you pay right away. And since we assume the risk of the buyer or the lender, the pricing that they will quote you has to be cheaper, because we're telling the US manufacturers or US banks that we will cover your risk of buyer's non-payment. So even if buyer goes bankrupt, you will still get paid. So that makes the transaction very appealing for them. So we will today go over these three types of financing products. So let me start with short term. As I said, these are up to 1 year terms, and working capital is something not for you really intended. Those are for US manufacturers, but export credit insurance is a type of product that you can benefit if you're, as I said, like if you're buying steel scrap, or you're buying cotton, or you're buying LNG, anything really. We through a lender, we provide you up to 1 year term. That's all I will say for this program. Now, today's focus is these programs, medium and long-term financing. So we have 4 distinct programs. Let me start with insurance and loan guarantees. Insurance policies and loan guarantee facilities are structurally the same type of facility. Is almost exactly the same. How we do it? We work with a lender. Lenders are usually, it can be really large banks, like those big ones that everyone knows, Wells Fargo, CD, Chase, HSBC, you name it. Or it can be, there are also many banks that are regionally focused, like the ones that are active in Southern Europe and the Balkans, the ones active in, Asia and Africa. There are smaller banks, but they are very active. And so you may not know these banks, which banks are working with EXIM programs frequently. But you can ask us. You can send me an email. Hey, Ebru, I'm considering to get a code to work with a U.S. manufacturer, U.S. products. Can you please provide me some list of banks that are active in my country? And I can do that for you. So both for insurance and loan guarantees, we work with lenders. How we do it? They provide you the funding. Actually, they provide the funding to the exporter. So when you purchase a product, exporter gets paid and you get extended terms. For medium term, 2 years to 5 years. For long term, over 7 years to up to 18 years, and I will go over those things. So it gives you very long extended repayment terms, these facilities. So your cash flow is unaffected. It gives you the time for you to grow and pay your debt, etc. So these are basically the bread and butter of EXIM's financing products, the insurance policies and loan guarantees. The other program is direct loans. Direct loans are usually the ones we directly fund. Instead of a lender, we fund directly. Those tend to be a little bit higher limit transactions because it has that kind of transactional complexity. Since we're not a real bank, we still use an agent bank, and for the processes of these type of transactions. And for direct loans, we use fixed interest rate. It's called CIR, which is commercial interest reference. Let me read it. I always forget. Commercial interest reference rate, CIR. Now, CIR is determined, the rate, CIR rate is determined based on the US Treasury bond rate, and it's calculated every month. So it can fluctuate. For instance, I looked up the most recent one for this month. CIR rate was for 10-year loan. 10-year loan was 4.5, I believe. And so the terms of direct loans also, up to 12 years. And under our new initiatives and programs, which I will go over shortly, it can qualify up to 18 years. Now, the last one, domestic financing program. I don't know if this is so relevant to today's audience with us, but this is when you want to invest in the US, like for a strategic reason. I don't know, you want to open up a plant in the US, a manufacturing facility. And if you do that, EXIM can might finance your cost of this investment up to 80%. And the requirement on that is that there has to be some export nexus, and I'll get to that. So, general requirements. What do we require for you to be able to benefit from EXIM financing? The first one is not so much relevant to you because we are open in almost any European countries. When other regions, we may not be open in some countries, but in Europe, we're open everywhere. But there's at the end of this PowerPoint, there are resources, and you will see country limitation schedule there. You can see like where we're open, where we're not, or what are the conditions for some countries. For Bulgaria, we don't have any conditions. We're straight open, that's it. US content rule. What is the US content rule? Now, US EXIM Bank, we are we are very, almost I would say, we are we're closely watched by Congress. We're mandated by the Congress, and Congress, ultimately, they're the one who, we go by the charters approved by the, authorized by the Congress. So one of the requirements for EXIM to be able to finance is that there has to be certain U.S. content in every transaction. And for short term, it's straightforward. 50% of the contract of the facility that we will support has to be U.S. content, meaning like made in U.S. The other 50% might be kind of mixed with foreign content, etc. That's simple. For medium and long-term facilities, it's a little bit more nuanced. It can be 85% of the net contract price, or it can be the 100% of the U.S. content in the contract. Now, when I say it like this, it sounds a little confusing, but basically, U.S. content amount is higher in medium and long-term facilities, usually around 85%, meaning that it is okay to have some foreign content, but for, U.S. content has to be larger than the foreign content, and if it is less than this, let's say there's only 50% U.S. content in your facility, that you're buying big products. I don't know, it can be anything really. What we can do is we can do co-financing. It sounds like it's more burdensome or cumbersome. It's not. It's easy. We work with another export credit agency, usually where the other parts come from, and then we under one financing. For you, it's under one financing, but actually there are two ECAs involved. We can finance it. Now, there are some exceptions to this content policy for under our new programs. My colleague Charles, when he joins, he will talk about China and Transformational Exports Program, which is a new initiative. Under that, it can go down to 51%, and with 5G transactions, even further, exceptions. So what is another requirement that we do analyze? We do look into the buyer's financial statements, and we seek reasonable assurance of repayment, meaning that we believe that the buyer is capable of repaying this loan that we are providing. So, there are other agencies in the U.S. provide financing or grants or equities, like DFC provides equity. USTDA provides grants for feasibility studies, etc. But for us, these are loans, so they need to be repaid. Additionality. This is a little sensitive, additionality, because it's Europe, so we need to justify why EXIM financing is needed, and why such as for just to give you an example, the presence of foreign competition or unavailability of commercial financing comparable to this. And there might be something that perhaps applicable for some sectors here in Bulgaria. As I said, because under our CTEP, our repayment terms are very long, and to get similar financing with same feasibility in the local market. We support almost any sector with the exception of military and defense related products, we do not, we are prohibited from provide financing. Again, there are exceptions to everything. If it is humanitarian use or civilian use, there are exceptions, and in that case, we can do it. Our engineers do a review of that and they make the determination. And the last one, all products should be shipped from the US, meaning like they may not be, you're buying from Germany, they're US made and originally came from, but from a German company you're buying, even though we can't finance that. They have to be shipped from the US to you. And exceptions, we will discuss about those. Now, I won't get into this slide much. We said, application requirements, but just what you should get away with this is that we will look at the buyer's audited financial statements. And these applications, by the way, you are not the one submitting. Lender will be submitting. They will be doing all the work. So the lender that you will choose, they will gather all the application package items and they will deliver it to us. If we need further information, they can provide us. And not everything on this list are applicable to every transaction. Like usually environmental impact assessments, those are for project finance, acquisition shipment schedule. Those are not like right away needed or not necessarily needed. So but just to give you a general idea, earlier we talked why you should consider EXIM Bank, and I mentioned that it provides you extended terms for U.S. exporters. Also, lack of funding can stand in the way of growth. And with EXIM guarantees and insurances, exporter achieves more secure entry to the markets and enable them to sell to foreign customers on credit terms. Otherwise, many of them, on many cases, credit terms are not available or not sufficient. And also, there's no maximum or minimum limit for our financing programs. It can be just few $1,000 financing. It can be billions of dollars of financing. We see them each day. So we don't have upper and lower limit in our financing programs. And our coverage, another attractive thing is that our coverage is for 100% of commercial and political risks, which make it desirable. Why lenders wants to work with us? Because it reduces their risk, which then allows lenders to offer larger lines of credit with less risk and more profit. And EXIM guarantees attract new customers for them and enables their current customers to use these additional services. And also every lender, every bank has country limits, buyer risk limits, and that eliminates this EXIM financing eliminates them, and it helps them satisfy their bank regulatory requirements like capital and liquidity requirements that they are supposed to comply with. Because ECA financing requirements is much more lenient than the regular commercial financing. And the other thing is that our guarantee to the lenders are unconditional. And with borrowers, with many of you, as I said, besides the extended terms, besides you can now negotiate with them, with your lenders, with your suppliers because of EXIM financing. It also, our financing programs allows local cost coverage. Let's say you have $1 million product you're buying from the US. It gives 40 to 50%, depending on the countries, local cost coverage. Let's say 40% for Bulgaria, so $400,000 local cost coverage, meaning that you're doing an additional room or additional improvement related to that project. Also, the cost of the financing, any type of fees, etc. So as long as it is within the scope of that transaction, of that purchase, we can cover those. And we complement local banks and commercial banks. We do not compete with them. If they offer to you better terms, better more advantages, we do not stay in the way. Remember the additionality clause. We should be needed for the financing. So here's an example. You guys, can you still see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good. So let's say $10 million product. You're a young company. You just started. Or your financial statements are not good. It's been impacted by pandemic a lot, and you think that your credit worthiness is not gonna stand for the amount that you're gonna ask. One way is to get a local bank guarantee. But even the local bank guarantees, it's likely that it will be EXIM financing can be cheaper. So I looked up a Central Cooperative Bank. I don't know if something is a bank that is working with the corporations. So let's say you got a guarantee from them, and let's say net contract price mean. Because in the contract, there are a lot of items, right? Net contract price means US content plus eligible foreign content. And eligible foreign content means any foreign content that is shipped from the US. So as long as foreign content is shipped from the US, it is eligible. And let's say in this assumption, in this scenario, US content is 6.8 million and eligible foreign content is 1.2 million. So it's neatly adds up to 8 million. That's the net contract price. Local cost is small under this scenario. It's only 2 million, even though we could have supported more, as I said. 40 to 50%, depending on the where the country is. And so the way EXIM financing works is we take the net contract price, which was 8 million, if you remember, 6.8 US content, 1.2 foreign eligible content, 8 million, but there's a 15% down payment that needs to be done for EXIM financing, medium and long-term guarantees. So when you take out that 15%, so our net contract price minus cash down payment is 6.8 million. Now you can say that, well, 15% cash down payment, I don't have that kind of cash. You can you can borrow that from the lender. Also, that can be financed. And then we add $2 million, we cover all the local costs, and total EXIM financing comes under this scenario. In a $10 million contract, we are able to support, in this scenario, 8.8 million. There will be exposure fee. That's the only fee we charge, exposure fee for medium and long-term transactions, as instead of interest rate. And that exposure fee, at least the indicative fee, can be found in our website. So there's a link here, and you can go and there's a drop-down box, and you can pick the country. You can look what the indicative prices are. One thing to pay attention, we have to give at least, we comply with OECD rules, so it has to be minimum OECD fee. We cannot provide less than OECD's minimum fee. So you have to make sure that you look up OECD's. In that table, you will see that rate as well. So, and the types of application, let's say yours is not a simple one piece of product you're buying. It's more, maybe it's a project. You're developing a project. Maybe it will be a project finance. So there are a lot of moving pieces. There are a lot of stuff that, you know, has to be completed, and that requires time. In the meantime, you want to indicate all the participants. You want to make sure that for all the parts, the companies that's going to be involved, you want to tell them that you will cover this with U.S. EXIM financing. We do, because we do have project financing transactions, which I'm not getting into this in this presentation, but I will provide Daniel our guidelines for a successful project finance transaction, and you can look into that. And if you want, we can talk later at another meeting. So you can request a letter of interest to see that if you're willing to, do due diligence in your project. We want to know who the, parties are. We want to know what you're getting, etc. Just some main items. We have a link in our website, exim.com, for a letter of interest application. It is like $100 fee. And it takes 7 to 10 days to obtain EXIM's letter of interest. It's not a commitment. It's just an indicative letter saying that, yes, we're interested in doing the due diligence and see if we can support this financing. So it's a good message to the investors, to the parties involving, saying that US EXIM will be doing the due diligence on this project. A preliminary commitment is more than that. It's a commitment subject to certain other requirements. Completed preliminary commitment is a very strong indication. It's a partial commitment. It has to be reviewed by the board if it's 25 million or above, and board authorizes preliminary commitment, and it says that, hey, we like this project. We will finance it subject to you bring this, and then we will give you the final authorization. So final commitment is just that, converting preliminary commitment into final commitment. Final commitment also just be a simple standalone application, just purchasing a simple product or a service, etc. So this is where he would have started. Now, I'm not going to go through all the mandates and initiatives, but I will go through the most relevant to this group. This is Europe, and the most first and foremost important ones are CTEP and Environmental Exports Program. And I will also briefly discuss Engineering Multiplier Program. Make More in America, you see here, is the domestic financing I briefly talked about. I don't think it's so relevant. I'm always here to give more information at another time. But let's talk about EEP and CTEP and Engineering Multiplier Program. Since I don't have a separate slide for EMP, Engineering Multiplier Program, let me quickly go over here. Now, how we discussed that project finance. We also do structured finance, not just simple, straightforward corporate finance, maybe a little bit more involved, future-looking numbers. With future-looking numbers, we can do structured finance. Anyhow, for these deals or project finance deals, the buyer usually needs a lot of pre-project studies done, like architectural, like engineering, technical services, technical consultation. All these we do provide financing for the feasibility studies, etc. Now, ours is not a grant like USTDA. USTDA provide grants. In case you don't know, I'm letting you know. Ours is a loan subject. So if the project, once your project or facility is approved, it will roll into that financing, that facility. So let's say this cost is gonna be 500,000 or whatever, we give upfront, and that you can pay these studies services fees, and then the payments are rolled into the financing program. It is very useful. Now let's go to first environmental exports program. This is not a new program, but it's getting it's more and more improved through the years. It's been available actually since 1992, and so basically, if you are purchasing from the US anything involving environmental exports, we will be able to provide coverage up to 18-year terms. They do qualify for 18-year terms, this sector. And so, and they are also automatically eligible for 50% local cost financing and capitalized interest during construction. So these are the major benefits of the environmental exports program. If the export is less than $25 million, it is simply approved by that underwriters division, and meaning it doesn't go to board. Just the VP of that group just simply authorizes the deal, so it is processed a lot faster. CTEP. China and Transformational Exports Program. Now, when you see this, don't assume that everything has to be related to China competition. That's not it. That is one major component. So we do both. This program is new. It's been only created 2019. And specifically aimed at enhancing the competitiveness of US exporters who face competition from China. So the program is strategically designed to counteract China's subsidies, including their official export credit, tie date, or blended financing offerings. We may be able to meet those terms. Besides that, if we put that aside, China component, this CTEP program also allows us to provide very flexible and very competitive financing for 10 industries. And those industries, let me take this height. Okay. So you see at the bottom of the slide. So these 10 industries make up the Transformational Exports Program. If your project or purchases related to any of these things, we may be able to give you flexible terms, rates, and conditions, and we can create a tailored content policy, meaning that remember that 85 rule with this program, under this program, US content rule goes down to only 51%. Our Congress, they authorize us when they authorize us for this program. They mandated us that we commit to allocating to this program no less than 20% of our total financing authority, which is equivalent to 27 billion, because our total financing authority is, I think, around 135 billion. So we have plenty of funds to be able to do projects if you have projects involving these sectors. And so The difference, again, as I said, one of the notable advantages is lower U.S. content requirement, and the all other higher local cost coverage, 18-year terms, and if country limitation schedule has certain notes, we can waive those. And as connected to CTEP program, again, the other program that we are we are really pushing is this 5G financing. EXIM now extends financing coverage to contracts supporting the sales of software, hardware, and services from trusted vendors to foreign buyers operating wireless communication networks. Meaning it doesn't have to be, it can be Ericsson, it can be Nokia, it can be, what we call trusted vendors, as opposed to untrusted vendors from China. So 5G financing have even further concessions. What are those? These products just allows us for the export, for the vendor, let's say Ericsson, to ship their products from any country in the world. It doesn't have to be shipped from the US. The content can be less than 50%. In fact, much less than 50%. If with the condition that US exporters should provide to EXIM an actionable US jobs plan, meaning that they have a plan that describes a pathway to expand meaningfully US-based jobs in the supported sector in the subsequent 3 to 5 years. So this plan may include plausible plans to shift sourcing or relocate related supply chains to the US from an offshore market, and for move away from a proposed plan to offshore jobs. So if they can submit, which they are now, they're very well aware of our requirements, all these 5G providers, they're well aware. And so they know how to get around it if it's less than 50%. So if this part of the conversation for telecom companies in Bulgaria, there are countries in Europe, we are talking already for this. We would be happy to talk more in depth about this financing. Lastly, 5G. We earlier on I mentioned this, that this is domestic financing program with a moniker "Make More in America." This is also new. This is just last year it was approved, April 14. So basically, no content requirement because the investment is in the US and it has a nexus, export nexus, meaning that a portion of the revenues should be coming from the exports. If it's a small business, which by the way, small business means different in the US, like your company might have 500 employees and millions of dollars generated, it can still be a small business based on a small SBA's description. So we have different description of small business. So if it's a small business, it's like 15%. If it's a larger business, then if it's 25% of production has to be connected to exports. But that doesn't have to be right away. Like a few years within, so it's the average. It needs to be average. It doesn't have to be the first year, second year, third year. So, but through the loan, through the lifetime of that loan, it needs to average that. And if you sell it to a company who exports, also that counts as well. So these are the major components of EXIM financing. Here I put some useful information like how to find exposure fee calculator on our website, or direct, interest rate for our direct loans, country limitation schedule. Here we are, our office. and everybody in the office. And this is, unfortunately, you couldn't meet him today, Charles, but you can reach him anything related to critical minerals, CTEP, China, 5G. You can contact these guys, or you can contact me, and I will make sure that you have a one-on-one meeting. So this is where it ends, and I'll be happy to answer your questions if you have any.
Thank you so much, Ebru. Thank you. It was a real thorough presentation that walked us through the financial opportunities that EXIM has can provide. Now I open the floor for questions and comments or clarifications if there are any.
I must have done a good job, Daniel.
Indeed, indeed. You remember, we remember your presentation in DC 2 months ago when you did almost repeated it, no matter how that it was a little bit more concise. But again, we had a lot of questions. Whether you
I remember. Yeah, you guys did ask a lot of questions. You know, but I am familiar with the fact that sometimes in these kind of gatherings, our guests or the audience today may not be willing to ask question, kind of this public, environment. They wanna ask direct their questions, on a maybe directly to me, not to share with others for various concerns. So I'm well aware of it, and that's perfectly fine. If you have questions, but you don't want to ask here, but you want to reach out to me, send me, shoot me. There is no, small, big question. Send me or through Daniel, however you want, directly or through AmCham Bulgaria. Please do reach out to me. And you may not need us today, but you might need us a few months down the road. Who knows? Whenever you need financing, I'll always be here to help you, support you.
I'll take the opportunity to introduce. Is there a question?
Yeah. Ebru, this is Adam Francis. Can you give us an indication of the interest rates ranges, let's say, for different products? I mean, I think you mentioned something in the beginning for direct loans, but
yes, direct loans are around last month 4.5. So they change, depends on the treasury's rates. It goes up and down. For exposure fees, so I am going to let's say medium term. I'm going to, because I don't know the indicative fees for Bulgaria. Let's take a look. So I'm gonna pick. So now this can be little helpful, not whole a lot. So let's see. Okay. So your exposure fee, if you use loan guarantee, will be somewhere around 3.8 to 4.4. And this is a one-time fee, which will be paid through the loan repayment period. So let's say you're paying, usually it are either quarterly payments or semi-annual payments you make. And so this will be blended into that. And but don't forget this rate, let's say somewhere around 4%. Actually, EXIM's rate is somewhere 2.3 to 3.4, but OECD minimum is 3.8 to 4.4. So ours is, so it has to be a minimum OECD. This also will include, this will add it into lender's fee. Lender will charge something too. I don't know what lenders charge, for EXIM financing, they charge differently, right? They don't charge you what they will charge when you go and ask them a loan. So since EXIM assumes their risk, And also remember, as I said, you can go and negotiate with various vendors. So this is not all in cost, but somewhere, I guess, just about 4, and then plus they will add little fee. Look, their fees are very, very competitive. Their margins are very low because it's that ECA financing. So don't be intimidated. And also always keep in mind that you will be paying this if it's those sectors we talk, if it's environmental or telecommunication or health or many other, computer or etc. 18 years, so very long repayment term as well. So
thank you both. I will take the opportunity to let's say invite the conversation and listen to some comment of his, our colleague in DC, Ivo Konstantinov, who is the director of the AmCham Bulgaria Office there. And he is let's say, natural connection to the American businesses that are looking towards Europe and particularly Bulgaria and Greece, and vice versa. So, Ivo, glad having you here with us today.
Thank you, Daniel. I'll be extremely brief. I'm very excited, almost giddy that we can have this webinar. And thank you, Ebru, for being available for us on the very first thing after the long weekend here. We really, really appreciate that. I'm myself back from Florida, like most people in DC and New York. So this is important for me to complement. I've known and worked with EXIM Bank in my capacity at the embassy as a commercial officer, now with the AmCham Bulgaria's extended DC office in business development and structured finance advisory that we have set up here. This is what matters. Bulgaria is at the threshold of a once-in-a-generation energy transition, and there's a lot of American equipment and technology and engineering that is needed and can come to our region, not just Bulgaria, I'm talking the entire Southeast of Europe, for the energy transition that is only now beginning, it's yet about to start. We have been underestimated in our part of Europe, American technology and American equipment. Particularly, I would name a few very important areas. That would be hydrogen in all of its areas, from storage to hydrolyzers and fuel cells. There is plenty that the United States can offer here. Small modular reactors, that small nuclear, that is the future, combining clean nuclear energy and decentralized power generation. And as science fictionally as it may sound, carbon capture and processing, of many solutions about which come from the United States. And the traditional 3 areas that the US has been very competitive and overlooked in our part of Europe also is agricultural equipment, mining equipment, and waste management and recycling. They already make sorting and processing robots here for the waste processing, which the European Union is mandating Bulgaria to do. And all of these areas are fantastic opportunities which EXIM Bank can support with their guarantees and insurances, and we can go to our lenders with whom we have relationships in Bulgaria and Southeastern Europe for support. But EXIM is a fantastic tool. And something else that is very rarely mentioned, but Bulgaria is one of only 2 European Union member states that is eligible for grant financing from the United States Trade and Development Agency. It's a sister partner organization of EXIM Bank here in Washington, that they support financially feasibility studies, pre-feasibility studies, sometimes front-end engineering studies, but rarely, not impossible, but rarely, and sometimes pilot project up to $1.5 million. With a feasibility study from the USTDA, you can more confidently approach EXIM Bank with a project. But America has a lot to offer. Our role as AmCham is to show you where you can find suppliers, where you can find strategic partnerships. So our office in Washington and our office in Sofia and our sister AmCham organizations in Southeastern Europe are there for you connect you with the US content that Ebru was talking about. I'm talking Caterpillar, John Deere, I'm talking AGCO, artificial intelligence, Bloom Energy for hydrogen. The US has a lot to bring on the European table. So use us as intelligence to fight partners, and then together jointly with them go and approach EXIM Bank. We encourage you to do that. Thank you, Dani.
Actually, Ivo, I'd like to thank you. I couldn't have, and I have not said it better. You're absolutely right. We do work with some Central European countries in energy transition, and these are big projects. Your neighbors, and as you said, in the nuclear energy, green hydrogen, and basically that transformational exports that Daniel have and will send any of those sectors. And we have a wonderful technical team, so we will ask your support and assistance to reach out to those companies, whether governmental or private, and make them aware of these opportunities. We develop for these exact reasons. Is energy is not just a commercial interest. Commercial. It's a security risk too, given today's conditions in Europe. So US, that's why we expanded our services and financing to make sure that our European partners like Bulgaria can take advantage of these programs and safely and securely transition their energy needs.
Indeed. Again, it was a good ending to that session. Ebru, thank you so much. Ivo, thank you very much for the intervention. Worth having you not only virtual but physical here in Sofia, but you're most valuable in DC. Ebru, once again, thank you so much.
I thank you for listening to me. I'm one of the resources that you have over here. Anytime.
We'll rely on your support and guidance if there are projects and companies that are willing to partner and take advantage. And to the audience, you'll receive the presentation that is still traveling, and then we'll share it among our membership. Should you have any questions, as Ebru said, reach her directly and she'll be happy to answer. Again, thank you all. Have a great afternoon or day. It depends on your geographic location.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Ebru. Thank you, Dani. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye.